What sort of bikes are you into? I like my sports bikes. Yeah, it's incredibly off topic.
It's maybe not the most traditional spam sandwich, but I think these flavors will go well. Garlic and the tahini.
Incredibly off topic. I just needed to know. Guys, you think I could go a day without mentioning the fact that at one point I rode a motorcycle from Denver to Alaska and then Alaska to Argentina? You think I'm going to go a day? Just wait until that part of the stream lost mine. Why'd you start in Denver? It's where me and my buddies started. It's also where I bought the bike. What kind of motorcycle? It was a KLR 650.
Then let's check
A real
out that
tractor.
cross-section.
I went to college in Colorado, and so all my friends from then live in Denver and Boulder, so I met them there. How did you afford that? Prostitution? I'll break it down for you, brother. The fun thing about traveling on a piece of shit motorcycle with a single, I mean like a literal coffin tent, and doing it through some of the most stunted economies in the world is that it's incredibly cheap. Once I passed into Mexico, I spent very little money. Blood is yapping. Never biked across America. Show proof. Daniel Sensei. What up? All right, I'll pull something up. Daniel Sensei spotting, man. I'll tell you what, dude. The real iceberg is Daniel Sensei's an NMP lol alt. That's the real iceberg. All of you are saying who? Good for you. No, seriously, it means you're not trolling through LSF threads. Or, like, I don't think I've ever shown anyone in chat this before. I just can't believe I actually did this. It was the biggest fuck it moment of my life. I'm really glad I did it. It was hard. Like, I wanted to quit a lot. It was like half of a year of just living on a motorcycle. Okay. It didn't really save in chronological order, but we'll share some things here. So this is in Alaska. I had to save everything from Facebook, so it doesn't look amazing. This is my buddy. These guys were both Ian, and this is Gabby, who's an environmentalist who lives in Alaska. She's cool. This was me and my buddy Sean here at the Dakar Rally in Bolivia, at the Bolivian Salt Flats, which was super fucking cool. This was my bike. It was a beat-up piece of shit. Had some panniers on it, but it was just falling apart at that point. Let's see. Oh, this is in a Bolivian high desert. So it would get scorching hot in the day, well into the negatives at night. I fucking adored it. But this was some of the most miserable I'd ever been. I had like borderline dysentery and was just pissing out of my ass in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. I mean, like actually just in straight sand. There were no roads, just sand. Oh, this was me when I finally got to Argentina. This is in Buenos Aires. Oh yeah, before I was a fucking indoor kid. I liked that hair length. It was nice. This is Alaska. I know it doesn't look cool, but it is cool because I had to fucking download everything off of fucking Facebook. This was me on the sailboat I took to cross the Darien Gap. Oh man, can't believe I did this. It's wild. Time just keeps going, man. Oh man, I can't believe I was only 23 here, man. I thought my life was over at this point too. I was so panicked. Yeah, I was just an idiot, just a little orphan running off being an idiot. This is in Valdez, Alaska. So a lot of people don't know, but Alaska is a rainforest. It's just freezing. And so when the frost thaws, there's just constant cascades of water. So many fucking waterfalls. It's funny because when I was on this trip, I met a bunch of people doing their spirit quest, like a bunch of men in their 40s doing similar trips. They were all just like envious of how early we were doing it. Oh man, this is one of my favorite photos. I'm crying. Time just goes. It's so crazy. I haven't talked to any of these guys. There's my buddy Simon and Sean. Sean is a kid. I just met these guys while I was traveling on a boat. It's just wild. I'm not going to say this buddy's name, but he was actually on this trip because he had told himself if he still wanted to kill himself at the end of the trip, then he would, And he didn't want to. He went through a hard breakup and just bought a dumb motorcycle. He had a little cruiser. He shouldn't have been doing what we were doing, but he followed us all on this like Honda cruiser he had. We got this little cabin. I think we were in Ecuador. And it was freezing, frigid, middle of summer in Ecuador. You wouldn't think it. And stayed up in this like mountain pass. It was so cool. We watched Magnolia there. That's all I remember. Someone had Magnolia downloaded. This was Simon, and he was younger than me. Simon was like 19 on this trip. And he was such a great kid. He would sit there and talk with me to depth about whatever I was thinking about, and I would him. He messaged me not long ago, and I haven't responded, and I got to do that. I didn't care about anything, man. I did. I cared about everything, but I had so little to care about. It was so nice. The shot and I. Man, why am I can't believe I cried about this. I'm sorry, guys. That's wild. I think here we're in Chile. I think this was just after we got out of the deserts. This was me. This was in the Dalton Highway, so this was like just nothing but dirt roads going all the way up to Dead Horse, Alaska. This is me in the Arctic. I asked one of my friends to take the photos, but they didn't know how to use the camera, so I'm out of focus. All right, this is in Alberta for sure. This is in Banff. Banff is the prettiest place I've ever been. I was 23, man. It actually blows my mind. Like, this, I was an idiot. I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. Everyone told me not to. I remember all my friends' parents being like, I know you don't have parents, so let me be the parent for you. Don't fucking do this, you idiot. This is my two buddies, Ian and Ian, and this is Salmon National Park. This is the Salmon Glacier. This is me in Colombia. This is Colombia for sure. This is just after Medellin. This was Pico de Gallo, Topo Chico, Cerveza Pacifica. This was in San Juanico, Mexico. It was like a cool little surf town. Okay, this is in coffee country in Colombia. I took a lot of photos there in the fog in the morning. Oh, man. Okay, so this is in Bolivia. So this is in Potosi, Bolivia, which is home to one of the most prolific salt mines, or not salt mines, silver mines in all of Latin America. And this is Tio. He's got a fucking throbbing hard on. And I can't believe I went into this mine either. It was so informal and unsafe. I showed up. So you give offerings of coca leaves. So all these leaves here, this is coca, like what would become cocaine. Beer and juice. Hugo and coca, man. That's all they wanted. And they would give offerings to him because the way they saw it is that they were in his domain. They were underground. And the funny thing is this is actually like essentially like religious colonialism gone wrong. So the Spanish, when they were colonizing Bolivia, they would, essentially threaten the like laboring indigenous populace and say like, you have to work, for Dio needs you to work. You know what I mean? And they'd put like little effigies of the devil there to like scare them into working. This is what I remember hearing at least. And they just started hearing Tio, and so they call it Tio. And Tio means uncle in Spanish. And so over time, they just started giving offerings to this devil because they're like, oh, okay, well, we're underground. It's where he's at. And they ended up kind of worshiping the guy. Okay, that's my buddy. This is the bike he was on. He had just crashed. He took a nasty spill. Simon's working on the bike. Probably Sean as well. Where am I? This must have been Colombia. Just kids. Everyone wanted to take photos. It was so cool. I don't know, man. You just get hammered in town squares with the boys because we were off the beaten path. So we'd go to like villages and everyone just wanted to hang out and like take photos. They all wanted photos because like for most people, they've never met anyone from like not their country ever, especially if they're in small villages. Like it's probably unlikely they've really met people outside of their village, like context, and not like in a primitive way. It's just like you don't travel in that sense. And so for a lot of people, it was just like, who's this fucking dude? People give me their baby and they just like fucking, they just hand me their baby and I'd take a photo with it. And like that was a thing. They'd always call me Thor, but they'd say it Tor, and they'd hand me their babies. Okay, so this is me and the boys at the equator. We went to the equator and hung out there. These were my boys, man. I spent every day with them. Such a wild life. I'm so grateful. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, this is one of my favorite little stops, man. This was like in the tail end of Peru. It was super frigid, and we were just careening over this mountain pass into like, had to have been at least like 40 miles of nothing, and dead in the middle of this like 40, 50-mile stretch of nothing. There's just this one little store, and it was this family. We held their babies. They were cool. Do you get sad about people drifting apart? Or do you think it's I accept it. We only have so much time. But the second I see them, it's like I never left, and I love that. Oh, this is Alaska. This is Valdez, Alaska. Look at how beautiful this is. Like an old mining shack, I think. These are two of my friends here. And this guy, Mike, who was an underwater welder. He worked on boats at the Valdez Harbor. He let us stay in his apartment. We made sushi. God, these are things you do and then talk about for the rest of your life. How crazy is that? That water looks clean. Well, if you know anything about Valdez, that's not what they're known for. I'm so grateful for all this dumb shit I've done. I'm so grateful for having had the opportunity to share just little snippets of life with people. Like, this is still, like, probably, like, through all the trials and, you know, malcontent and fear, like, some of the most fun I've ever had. Well, sandboarding in Huacachina. Check this shit out. It's a little oasis there. And they, their whole economy is built on getting these little, like, dune buggies out there, and they just fucking rip it. How did you prepare yourself for the journey? I didn't at all. I just sent it. And I think that it's one of the single most salient lessons I've ever learned, is that sometimes you just have to fucking start. And you learn as you go. This is Alaska again for sure. Oh man, this is the Dalton Highway. Just nothing but dirt road. It was so cool. These were our tents. I saved it just to show you the Lone Rider mini tent. Look at this is the coffin I lived out of. You recommend this journey for Chad for going through all these memories? I mean, you might die. I almost died many times on this trip. But I will tell you that, you know, man, thinking about it all, I lived so much life in such a short period of time. How'd you almost die? I mean, you're on a motorcycle through, like, you know, some of the most complex terrains, going, like, head on into vehicles many a times, man. Oh, man. All right, so check this out. This is a random school bus I slept in. Well, it wasn't random. It was like in a village in Colombia that I stayed in. This is the longest my beard has ever been. I don't think I've ever grown it to this length again. I just slept in a lot of fucking hefty layers and beanies, and life was good. How'd you organize this? I didn't. I had some buddies who were doing it too. They had some routes planned. Just purchased the shit. Who was the mechanic in the group? Oh, everyone kind of knew what they were doing. I had to learn as I went because I had never ridden a motorcycle before the trip. It was my first ride was on the trip, more or less. I think I did like a couple practice runs in Colorado before, but like, yeah, I did it all on the go, man, like a fucking idiot. I'm so glad I did. Everything good that has come into my life over the course of the last however many years has quite literally been just me going, fuck it, and sending it. And I've developed nothing but new friends and memories and people I love, and I'm real grateful. So I'd encourage you to plan a little less and do a little more. Man, I can't believe I watch Roll for Sandwich now. Yeah, thanks, Daniel Sensei.